Here's the agenda. I still haven't memorized this, but I don't think I will. Okay, as a preliminary matter, this is Rob Benchley. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Caroline Ellis.
Here.
Thank you. Angus McLeod.
Here.
Clement Durkis.
Here.
And I don't see Mary Lathrop, but that's okay. We have a quorum. Good morning. This open meeting of the Sconset Advisory Board is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, Governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed to encourage to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely, so long as reasonable public access is afforded to the public, so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such precipitation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Sconset Advisory Board is convening by video conference on the Zoom app as posted on the town's website. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and to take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials have been provided. Members of the body are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. First item in the agenda, I'll introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude the remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide your comment, questions, or motions. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation, please do so through the chair. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public who join this meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged and speak through the chair. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. And I'll take a motion for the adoption of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Angus moves that motion. All those in favor? Caroline?
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Clement?
Aye.
Okay. Rob is a yes. That motion made and seconded, and it is unanimous. So we're moving along now to the first item of the agenda, which is 9 Coffin Street for an addition. This was Nob Hovde's house, was it not?
Yes, I believe so.
And did I see Steve was here?
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. I am available if anyone has any questions or would like an overview. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Steve, why don't you just do a quick overview? And I think most of us have looked at this already, but we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay, great. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
So we are basically some updates to the existing structure. As shown in the historical report that we provided out of the PIN files there, you can see that the main part of this structure has been around since the 1920s. The parts that we're working on predominantly are two pieces that were added over time. I can't tell you exactly when they were added, but I know that the kitchen or left side of the building is viewed in the elevation that you're looking at right now. Is an area where we're pushing out what's essentially the same mass, but we're bumping it out about 6 feet. And then that mass is going to wrap around the driveway side of the building to create a side entry with a simple and pretty shallow little porch element. If you maybe just scroll down one elevation, Holly, I think, oh, sorry. Yeah, keep going. We're heading to the, one more, sorry. There we go. So on the west side, that's the side that faces onto the parking area, which is just in front of that little garage cottage that also sits on the property. So you can see that porch element that we've added there. And also I know on the large format layouts, we also show the existing conditions, and that might just be helpful for you guys to compare what's existing versus what we've proposed. And then on the opposite side of the house, on the east elevation, there's currently a sunroom over there, and we're extending that sunroom. Actually there, it is the exact same massing, but we're extruding that out about 6 feet as well. And then in addition to that, Mr. Chair, we're replacing doors and windows as shown on the plans around the building.
Great. Thank you very much.
Maybe just one last comment I should have said, which is that the original structure has a lot of classic sort of bungalow type details, exposed rafter tails, deeper overhangs. What we've elected to do on these two additions is to match the similar simpler styling of exterior trim details that we found on those elements today, and let the sort of main part of the structure and its trim details still read as the original building. So that was a design decision that we made.
Terrific. Thank you.
Steve, I wanted to ask you a question. It's okay, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead. Yeah.
On the site plan, it's really hard, and maybe I'm the only one, to discern on where the actual proposed addition is in relationship to the existing structure on here.
Can you zoom in there at all, Holly?
Yep. Absolutely. Aha, that's why.
I agree that it probably would have been helpful if we bubbled here in this site plan for you all. But maybe, Holly, you can just help me walk through this. So let's start with the easy one. Over up against Lindbergh is that first roof line that you see all the way to the far right there, right below. That's exactly right. Okay, so that's the sunroom or east side.
Okay.
And then if you go to the opposite side, Holly, everything in the middle there is existing massing, okay?
Yeah.
That entire piece there all exists. That dormer that you see, the massing that those two skylights sit in, one of those skylights is existing. I've actually proposed the second one. But everything to the left of that, so that area where your cursor is now, and then down to that front forward facing gable is the renovation on that side of the house.
Makes more sense. Thank you for that. And I'll remember to, once this gets proposed before the HDC, to zoom in for them.
I'll invite anybody to shout out. It looks very sensible to me.
Yeah, this is Clement. I don't have any concerns really. And it's two doors across, basically kind of across the street from me.
The
This is Angus.
oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean
No.
to interrupt. Caroline, was that you?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Steve.
How are you, Angus? Hi. Thank you.
I'm good. It's good to see you. Thanks for the description, and it really does feel like bungalow. I I kind of prefer the charm of the 6/1s. I kind of wish that all of the 2/2s were like that. And so the switching to 2/2s is the whole way with that. As far as the eave details, I think to make the new additions feel like part of the structure and be integrated, I think it makes sense for those to have the same eave and overhang details. I think that would make it more harmonious rather than, you know, bits and pieces and obvious of what's been added at a later time. That's all, Chair.
Thank you, Angus.
Mr. Chair, for the benefit of the board, I did notice that there's a removal of a chimney. I know that's been a hot topic with the advisory boards and the HTC, so I just want to point that out. Also, too, for the record, I found on the NHL data that this one is called Island Home. Why it's not indicated on the HDC survey, but thought you'd like that in case you all didn't know.
I didn't.
That's where it went.
Holly, thank you for mentioning the chimney. I did notice that, but I saw another chimney in there, and I think as long as a chimney remains, it's just weird for a house that was, you know, before central heat to not have a chimney. It doesn't look quite right.
Yeah, just to clarify, the chimney that's being removed is actually just the flue for an oil boiler that's going to be removed and replaced with propane. So, but the chimney that remains actually services a full wood burning fireplace in the living room of the house.
Steve, is that the original fireplace?
The one that we're keeping, Angus, yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Carolyn, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I have no comments.
Okay, fine.
Looks fine. I think Angus's comment was good about the windows, but other than that, none.
All right. Well, if there's no further comment, I think, Holly, did you get? Yes, she's nodding yes.
I did. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Steve, for being here today.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep. Thank
Steve, thanks for
you all
coming.
very much.
See you. Thank
care.
you.
Have a nice day. Stay dry.
Hey,
You
Gary,
too.
Will.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, looking so healthy.
Okay, we'll move on to 9 Hawk Circle.
Yep. Hi, it's Adam Davis with Goldsmith Architects. And
Hi,
so
Adam.
where are the next 2 items? How are you?
Good.
So I was going to mention if we want to go over Canterbury first, or I can just mention the fact that the Canterbury applications are basically the move from 9 Hawk Circle. So if you remember the last meeting we had the existing main house and garage guest house from Hawk Circle, that there was hope that we could save it, and we did save it, and those are moving over to Canterbury. So that's the following application. So this first application is for a proposed guest house at 9 Hawk Circle, as we're now working with a clean site.
And Adam, this is Rob. Am I correct? This is pretty much the application that you had submitted a few weeks ago? I mean,
From
not the
the-
application, the
See you later.
the-
Okay.
same design.
Yeah, same project.
Okay,
So we had submitted on the main house before,
Yeah.
to which we've since had your review and the HTC review, and we're resubmitting that this week with a revision that's hopefully more in keeping with what everybody is looking for. But with that, the guest house project is designed to fit with the main house as well in terms of style.
great. Thank you for that clarification. Just as a little side, the chair notes the arrival of Mary Lathrop Will. Thank you for coming in.
Sorry to be late.
Oh, we'll dole out some punishment after the meeting. All right.
Which one do we want to look at first? Do you want to look at the new dwelling?
Sure. Well, since it's up, yes.
Get them all out in a row.
Chair.
Yes,
and
this is
Holly,
the guest house application. But yeah, I'm fine with starting with this one. And so as you'll see in the site plan, the red square is marking where we're discussing the guest house. The main house, very similar mass to what we had talked about before, pushed more to the north, where the guest house is essentially meant to mimic one of the wings that are coming off the south of the main house. And you'll see it's a simple story-and-a-half structure, shed dormers on either side, as well as porch and balcony on either side, with a pergola facing the pool. And for the most part, where the property is, it's set I think 3 or 4 lots back from Low Beach Road, so it's not very visible from any public way. And from Hawk Circle, there's currently an existing very thick privet hedge along the road that we would look to maintain or repair if any of it gets damaged.
Mr. Chair, through you, I just wanted to let Adam know, if you're not already aware, that you will need to get a approval from the planning board for that second curb cut.
For the driveway, yep. So yeah, again, similar window schedule from the main house. We're doing 2/1 windows, French doors, 2/2. We've got an outdoor shower that's located on the east side that will be closer to the pool. And again, very sheltered as far as call that the backyard of the main house. But it's a nice little simple structure. I think it's working out pretty well as far as scale. So let me, and I guess the biggest thing on here was on the main house, we had crossbucks for the railing design. We had some opposition to that on the main house discussion. So we switched to a more standard or more traditional railing design on this, which will reflect in our revised drawing of the main house.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the east elevation that we see from the street, is that correct?
You would see the west elevation.
West elevation, okay.
Yep. So yeah, that's not necessarily the front of the house. You would just see the shed dormer with the 3 windows and the small shed addition off the side. Yep. And the north elevation is presumably the entry.
Yeah, that is one massive hedge around that property.
It really is. And it's thickly settled thickly planted to the north, and then on the south, it's all lower. But you know, the owner is very interested in keeping that backyard as private as possible. So with that, we'll keep it well planted out.
And the pool that's on the plan, is that the same pool that's currently there, or has it been
What's
moved?
shown there is the same location as the existing pool, and we've reached out to a couple of contractors to discuss basically the viability of kind of quote renovating the existing pool. Basically the shape that the existing pool is in, not referring to condition, but the actual design of it. It's a little dated, and none of us, like basically us or the client, aren't all that excited about the rounded sides to it. So what we're seeing is that if it's possible with a gunite pool to essentially lop off the semicircles off the sides and start fresh with a box. So essentially, if we can infill the east and west ends of that pool, we could likely maintain what's there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. That's a valiant idea.
Mhm. I'm not totally sure that it's that viable, but we're giving it a shot.
Understood.
Chair, I'm happy to start.
Go ahead.
It's Angus. So I just put in the chat, I would prefer to see the main structure before deciding on the guest house. But if we're going to go ahead and review it, with this being more than just a barn or some sort of storage.
Oh,
Um,
trees. Oh, there you go.
I think that there needs to be some acknowledgement towards the street and the approach and the driveway going up to a blank wall as opposed to an entrance. That seems awkward. It's like the front of a house, but you're looking at the back of the house.
Okay.
And again, I'd like to, reflect on the fenestration and the railings and the massing and the roof lines and all of that with the main house. But Adam, I appreciate you talking about the railings and the fenestration. It would just be nice to have a picture in front of us. That's all,
Oh,
Chair.
sure. Yeah, no, and so that's where when we submit revisions, I'll make sure to include elevations of the other house in the application.
Thanks.
Yeah, and this is Rob, just for the record, Angus had put up a question on the chat thing about having this track with the main house application. Just so that's noted.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's typically how these work. I'd have to talk with Kathy on how, because this one's a newer application, the other one's actually going to be an old application. But
Right.
typically that's how the HDC likes that, to have them track with.
Yeah, and given, I mean, the length of the HDC agenda at this point, it wouldn't surprise me if we're able to tag these up together once we submit our revisions for the main house.
You're probably right on that one. Yes.
Yep.
The length of them. But yes, I have notated that on my notes to have a track. Mr. Chair, if I could ask this, I'm curious, Adam,
Yep.
on the length of these decks, second story decks. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be indicated. I want to look at that. But I do agree with Angus, this approach, facing the street, that's not typical.
Yeah.
And now that there's, in this location is not where that existing hedge is going to be kept. That's a little odd. If it was actually going to be blocked, then I don't think we would typically have that conversation. So.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit in the sense where that secondary driveway is certainly just meant more out of convenience than anything. And I guess I should show some planting, because I believe the idea is that we will plant out this secondary driveway so that you're still not seeing the house necessarily. So if you imagine right where your arrow is would likely be a gate to walk over towards the front, and then the basically that back of the house, the west elevation, would be planted out.
Okay.
And that's where we can play with that driveway design. This was put in just based on, we know we want to be able to pull something in over there. I mean, the other alternative is we would just do the, not a real driveway, but just have the ability to drive once you cross the hedge over towards the guest house. But this might be a little easier as more of a secondary access, and frankly, maybe good for maintenance folks or whatnot to park there.
Okay, if my suggestion would be if the intention is to block the visibility from the road to the guest house, that's going to be of concern with this.
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
you're
So
showing
we
right
could
now.
show that elevation planted out to show kind of where we would imagine hedgerows to be. So again, it's a secondary structure. We don't want it to be the first thing that you see as far as pulling up. So imagine basically a thick privet hedge kind of going around the back of that as well. So yes, we throw a driveway in there to pull into, but you'd go through a gate on your north side to walk over to the front.
Anything you can do to propose that information now would probably be best.
Yeah.
My
okay.
recommendation.
Yep.
Holly, in the floor plan, the depth of the deck is noted for 7'4".
I believe the max is 8, I believe.
That sounds familiar. Typically, we'd have we'd hide the railing a little bit more with a hip roof on this type of structure. This is going off of criticism from the main house that they weren't happy seeing the hip roofs as they were. It was just kind of another language added to a fairly complex house, and so they felt if we could simplify that, which we did. That's why the porch might read as a little bit larger, but we could certainly shrink it down a little bit too.
Great. Okay. Any other comments from my fellow Sconset Advisory Board members?
Rob, this is Clement. The only comment I have is the reason I think that those porches look so large is because of the size of the house. So
Yeah.
maybe if they could get shrunk a little bit,
Mhm.
you know, they're kind of little bookends, but they're very heavy bookends. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know at what point the HDC stopped discouraging freestanding second floor decks. It used to be something that you just, couldn't have. It needed to be sort of incorporated in between, extending walls so that it was sort of nestled. And this is both are clearly visible from the road coming and going. So I guess they've changed their parameters.
Thank you, Angus, for that. Angus with the memory. Thank you.
It's only
Mike-
been 35 years of going to these meetings.
Agreed.
This is Clement again. Am I correct at reading the height at 2911 or is it, 2911, 2311?
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Thanks, Holly, for enlarging.
I'm thinking back to those early Tom Nevers upside down houses from the
Right.
70s and 80s with 22-foot tall 4x4 posts holding up the second floor decks.
Yeah.
Terrible. All right. All right, then. I think we're good with this one, and we should go to the move on, I guess, for the relocation of the existing house.
Yep. And just as Holly's pulling that up, I will say, like, thankful for due diligence. We had a couple of house movers look at the existing house to basically say there's no way this thing's getting out of Sconset without really hacking it up. So some quick action. There's plenty of available lots over on Cannonberry. So we've got something of a new project happening over there. And the movers were pretty excited that this can be picked up in one piece. They don't have to take it apart. And so it should be a nice clean move.
Yeah, thank you. It seems like the larger company that said okay to making it a new project in that development. That's great.
Yep, it fits really well on the site. It's a clean site as far as simplicity and shape. So as far as orientation, you come off the road, we'll keep the driveway to the north because there's already a curb cut there. House will be somewhat centered, but still hugging the north side as much as possible. And then the garage, which we won't have a driveway going back to, it's more meant the idea that if you have a boat or a car that you leave in the off season, it can be pulled back there just over the grass. And we'll use the existing kind of finished area off the garage as a cabana for a new pool.
Mr. Chair, if I could just
Yep.
ask one question.
Please go.
I'm a little confused as far as this locus map, because that's Plainfield. But this
Oh.
is going to
Oh, I'm
Cannonberry.
terribly sorry. Something must have happened with our reference.
Okay.
That is the wrong map.
If you wouldn't mind emailing me one, I can put it within this PDF for whenever it goes back. But yeah, that's definitely gonna cause some concern from the.
Yes, I'm terribly sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay,
I was
that
gonna
happens.
ask, how do you get to this and where's the road on the site plan?
Yeah,
That's a project we developed a couple of years ago, which that was the exact question before, but it's all done now.
Okay, so
Yeah,
bas-
I'll send you a new site plan.
so this law on Canterbury, we all, this board knows that Canterbury is kind of a long shot. So this lot is on the left-hand side when you turn in, right?
Yes.
Okay, that would make sense with the orientation of your proposed driveway. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Would you like me to email you the GIS right now?
If you wouldn't mind, that way I wouldn't forget.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move a heck of a house out of the way first to get that house on the lot on that site plan. They won't be happy about that.
Yeah, thankfully, it's all quite open and clear to get there. And yeah, Canterbury is just relatively underdeveloped at this point, so this will fit nicely.
Very developed.
and it won't be on the landfill. That's really great.
Yep. Okay, so Holly, I just sent you the new GIS map, and I'll send a new site plan cover sheet for that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Since-
No, sorry for the confusion.
That's okay. Since you all don't have, well, let me rephrase this. Since there's no proposed changes within the move, no concerns.
No concerns.
Okay, and then the garage, let's put that one up too.
My only concern is the orientation facing the street, the east elevation. Are those French doors that'd be the new front door?
Mm,
No, the street, it's a single door in the front. Well, they are French doors, yes.
Well,
guess
because I
the-
think on the old plan, those were facing the pools. So that was
Right.
not the,
Well, it's like this, the street elevation is the side porch, which that's a single door. But then the
That's
north
fine.
and south elevation both have French doors. One was from the parking area, the other was to the pool. But yes, that's basically the street elevation.
that's the street north.
Yep.
I
From
guess-
9 Hawk Circle, yeah.
I guess that should be labeled east then if it's facing the street, right?
Oh, no, because in the new configuration, that will now be facing north.
So the
Oh.
gable ends are facing north and south.
The east elevation is the new front elevation, which is what used to be facing the driveway at 9 Hawks.
Okay, so there are French doors that are facing the street now.
Correct.
And the second story deck,
That's
freestanding.
certainly something we could swap the front door out.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I would take a look at the second story freestanding deck too.
I did do a little research as far as neighboring houses in the area. And while I guess the difference is a freestanding deck versus one that's embedded into a hip roof, but there are several properties that do have balconies over their front door.
On the front of the house.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know how or why these are getting through, but do it while you can, I guess.
Oh, I see.
Could we see the west elevation quickly?
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so the east and west really match one another.
Mhm.
It's funny, I've been to that house a number of times. I never noticed that their front door was a French door.
Huh.
Peculiar.
I think that works better when it's, when the gable faces the street and you sort of go down a driveway and then you look at the front of the house. But with it
Mhm.
facing the street, I think there's a different dynamic that needs to be examined more closely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a situation where it'd be very simple to swap that French door out for a single door with side lights. And it really wouldn't have much effect with the shingling or trim.
Okay. We're going to move on to the garage now, and I I note that there's the proper site plan on the left
Yeah.
Yes.
for everybody's information.
So it's right off, it's right opposite what, Sleep Wing Circle?
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Yes, yes, Mary, you're correct.
Okay.
yeah, that's the first cul-de-sac off of Canterbury.
So the east is facing, right? The street. It's not nose
Well,
out.
No, I don't,
No,
I think
oh,
these elevations are confusing in the sense that where the house used to face and where it does now. I think the front door faces north. When it's going to be on Cannonberry, it would be north facing.
The existing, from Hawk Circle, the way the garage is oriented, the garage door slash front door was facing west. But we're turning it 180 degrees on this one. Because this was adjacent, like this was a 90-degree turn from the main house at 9 Hawks. But we're aligning it with the house over on Canterbury.
So the east would be the front.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Adam, so there isn't a driveway that goes to those garage doors?
There will not be, no. It'll just be grass.
good.
That's weird.
Well, I'm glad you found a home for them.
I'll get it. Any other comments on this? I think it's terrific that it's been
Yeah, me too.
reused. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to find a spot nearby.
There's so many. I'm surprised they didn't just start with a bare lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
I'm sure it is. And I'm glad you didn't try to move it to Codfish Park. All right.
All right, well, thank you. If you're all set with me.
Okay, Adam,
Thanks,
thanks.
Adam.
Thanks for coming by.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right. We'll move on now to 7 Westerwick for a new dwelling. And well, that's a big file. Still loading.
Yeah. Their files are usually pretty intense.
There's so many layers in those drawings.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh, this is the same neighborhood, is it not?
It is.
Down at the end on the right.
Well, this really makes you appreciate the previous submission.
Hi. Oh, sorry. My name's Irina. I'm with Workshop.
Hello.
Oh, hi,
Hi.
welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Sorry. So this property, like you said, it's part of Canterbury Lane. It is one of the properties that we're proposing here. And it is on 7 Westerwick, so it is the furthest of the cul-de-sacs in the development at the end of the block. It's the first model of a home that might occur again, but this is the first one that we'll be presenting. The idea was to do like a low slung roof, really kind of like bungalow style, and that's how we ended up with that back portion, and really doing these long, low slung dormers, trying to be mindful of the culture in Sconset with our porches and articulation around the columns. And yeah, we would love to hear your comments.
My copy of this on my other computer is jumping around. Is this a is this a modular?
No, it is not.
No. Okay. Thank you. And on the west, I'm sorry, hang on. Ugh, that right there, that screen, that's a screened in.
Correct. Yep, that is a
Porch
screen
over
porch
on
at the back.
Yeah. A fly trap, as my grandfather used to call it. Keeps the flies in.
Yep.
Ah,
Chair, this is Angus. I'm a little confused because the locust plan shows this on the southeast corner of the circle at the end of Canterbury, and which would mean that the house is the front of it is north facing the street. Yet I think the back north elevation is marked as the back of the house.
I apologize. You're correct. The front elevation is incorrectly marked as south, but that is actually on the north face, and below where it says north would be alternatively on the south.
I think that'd be helpful for everybody for that to switch.
Yep. Sorry.
I love the idea of a bungalow style being introduced in really anywhere. It's just a more modest style. Roof lines are shallower, so the 1212 would be more Victorian, and the brackets and the posts are sort of more like a carpenter Gothic, and the windows are more Victorian, long 2/2s, as opposed to 6/6s that are more squarish, not square, but not as long as that. I think that the proportions of the panes and the windows and the doors are awkwardly long. So that's what I have for now.
great. Thank you, Angus. Clement or Mary or Caroline?
Yeah, this is Mary. I would agree with Angus. I'm seeing a confusion of styles in that, you know, there's a Victorian and a modern sensibility to the longer windows, but then the detailing on the front porch posts doesn't seem Victorian or modern. It's a little, yeah. So I'm think there needs to be not more symmetry, but more one style as opposed to several different styles. The front door is in another style entirely. So,
Oh, right.
the integrity is very mixed. as a result of all of this. The shape of the house is fine. I think that's good. And I appreciate that it's bungalow style.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mary.
this is Clement. The front door looks like a Dutch door, which is
Hmm.
a little strange. But
Mhm.
so as you say, adds another style.
The Dutch plank door with a single sash in it reminds me more of the oldest houses in Sconset
Mhm.
along Center Street in Shell, like Old Lang Syne.
Well, and also
That with the Underhill cottages.
the Actors Colony, they have some of those wide plank doors, and Patrick Street.
I was going to say the Underhills on Evelyn Pochik and
Mhm.
Lily. Again, I feel like any of these elements are drawn from Sconset. I think
But-
you just pick one and go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you. We can study some of these details. In terms of visibility, really this front view is the main one that'll be visible from Westerwick. But yeah, we can continue to study them.
You might want to go to Baxter Road to a house that's on the corner of Baxter and Rosalie's Lane. It's on the ocean side. It's called Blink Bonnie. You might find some inspiration there.
All right, thank you.
And one last thing, I think whenever possible, you want to avoid having two doors on the same.
That
the front.
that second door is about 10 feet behind. You
It's
can't
set
see
back.
Yeah, it's set back.
Okay.
It's hard to see the
Okay.
perspective in that view.
Yeah,
That's better. Yep.
yeah,
Much better.
that's very typical, I think, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I just have
Bobby?
one question, Mr. Chair, or comment I like the chimney, but it seems a little stout in relationship to the peak.
Hmm.
Just a comment on that.
No, but Holly, it's part of the back of the house, which is quite a bit lower. So I agree. When you look at it from the front, it looks
Oh,
weird,
yeah.
but then when it scales back to the right there, you see clears the roof line of the back of the house significantly, but just not the main roof line.
Yeah.
More proportionate on this elevation.
Yeah.
And this is Rob. As a practical matter, is it going to draft better if it's taller? It'll look funnier if it's taller, but just a thought.
Well, I think it's so far from the other roof, it should draft perfectly well because it's really behind the second structure, the lower roof,
Yep,
which is
gotcha.
room width.
Thank
We're
you.
happy to make that taller if needed.
Yeah, it looks fine right there.
Yeah, it does. That's a good.
Yeah.
angle.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you really see it from the front. I don't think your eye will catch it.
All right. This is Rob. Any other comments? There being none, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate your presence and your
Did we have a garage
clarification.
to look at?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, there's
Just
also a garage associated with this lot.
There it is.
All right.
I have an attentive board.
That's always good.
Yep.
So this is a 2-car garage located on the same lot with a studio above.
How tall is it?
I don't have the exact height in front of me, but it is, if you go to that first elevation, 23
23.
feet.
23.
No brackets.
Seems a little tall.
Seems a little tall, and it seems like the roof pitch is doesn't track as well with the main house.
Yeah,
I like the garage doors, however, the two sets of garage doors. They mimic the front door on the main house.
Which may get changed.
Right.
I don't mean to be a stickler about direction.
But this would be north.
There's a facing west.
I apologize. Yep, these are also incorrectly labeled.
I mean, it is a little bit of a diagonal, but south is more facing the house, I think,
Yes,
to the
correct.
south. I like the stepped garage doors. I'd like to see it be a little bit shorter if possible. I like the style and scale of the doors and the lights.
Mhm.
ah,
Caroline, would you just add the same trim to those posts that you have on the front of the house? Whatever you decide to do.
Yes, we can add that column detail there.
Small. Small.
okay. Any other comments?
But it's the east elevation that's actually facing the street.
West, I think.
West.
Yeah,
Well, no, I mean, it's marked south. The south is west, and that's what faces the street.
So the garage, just to clarify, the garage is what we're going to see from the street. The garage doors are what we're going to see from the street.
no, it is actually that
Mhm.
east, what is noted as east elevation with the small window
That's what I thought.
at bottom.
Yeah. Because you don't, it's not snot nose out, so you actually have to turn
Oh.
in to get to it.
I see.
You know, this is Caroline. We see this more and more, is that houses, which I think would be elegant, have cars parked in front of them. I mean, the
Yeah.
new one that was done near the Ruddicks, they spent all that money on that house and they're gonna have cars parked in front of it. I just don't understand. A garage is a utility thing, it seems to me, and not a thing of beauty. And I think utility buildings were always behind properties. But so it really won't matter what the front of the house looks like.
Well, if they pull their cars in the garage,
They won't.
then
Nobody
you wouldn't
does.
see them.
You wouldn't see it because they're so huge. It'll block the front door. I just think it's too bad to spend all the money and the landscaping and everything, and then you walk through a car park to your front door.
So noted. We need a height restriction on cars.
Maybe design too. I don't know.
Right. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's true. Well, that really is the sort of the last lot at the end of the road, isn't it?
Actually, the Vales live over to the right where you're looking at
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
So
the,
Westerlick goes that,
yes, okay.
And it backs up against the
Milestone?
The old dump.
well, it's backs up against trust property.
cross property. Yeah, that's the old Heller land,
Right.
Yes,
Bluefish Lane, and then the water companies to the north.
Mhm.
yes.
I do think the way it's situated on the lot, actually going down Westerwick, you're gonna have that nice visibility of the front of the garage. It looks like the side that I was concerned on with that one little window, you're gonna have it blocked with the vegetation that's gonna be planted, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
A pretty lot.
Yep.
A pretty lot. Without a pool yet.
Yeah, no pool.
Okay. Are we good on this one?
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. All right. Other business?
Just
For
the
some reason-
two things.
Yep, okay.
Just the one thing from Holly for Clement and me.
Mhm.
If you can do that, Holly, we'd love it.
Yeah, so you all would like to have the language for the, our resiliency design guidelines
For Codfish Park.
for Codfish Park. Yep.
Yep. That would be great. If you can.
This is, we are putting this in our Sconset advisory plan
Perfect.
about resiliency.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Okay.
so it's consistent.
Yep.
Yeah. And on the other item, I haven't heard back from Ralph. So I'll pursue her again. It involves Bill Tramposh. And so she has to reach him, and
He might be in New Zealand.
don't take it off. Well, if he's in New Zealand, he's there for good.
We will keep it on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, great. And also the our area plan, our
I've
adoption
got
of
to
the,
go. I have to go. I'm sorry.
all right,
Thank you.
okay,
Bye,
bye.
Caroline.
I have some language that I've drafted for our request to the HDC. If you don't mind, I'll take a minute and a half to read it. I haven't not finished it. I didn't finish my homework, but
That's
teacher, I'm almost done. So I will proceed if that's all right.
Please.
This is addressed to Mr. Rapol, Chair, Historic Districts Commission, 2 Fairgrounds. Dear Mr. Pohl, fellow commissioners and HDC staff, as the town of Nantucket is in the process of updating its 4181D master plan, island neighborhoods and their representatives are now at work offering their ideas in bringing the final plan together through a request from the Nantucket Planning and Economic Development Commission. This very work is ongoing in Sconset, where many residents, including most of your Sconset Advisory Board, are participating in the process. The geographical basis of these discussions is defined by a map titled Sconset Area Plan 4181D Master Plan, Town of Nantucket, which I have attached for your convenience and reference. In unofficial discussions over the weeks amongst ourselves and with members of the Sconset Civic Association and the Sconset Trust, it is the Sconset Advisory Board's belief that it would serve the community. Oh, I'm sorry. I dropped something there. We wish to expand our review area to coincide with the boundaries as delineated by the attached map. This is not a request to change or amend any zoning or historic district. It is simply to include Sconset's outer areas as places to see, and I'm getting all jumbled here. Anyway, that's the direction I'm going, and I see I have written, while this may seem as a considerable expansion to our existing area, Sconset is expanding considerably.
Rob is Clement. I think
Yeah.
that what we really want is consistency. I mean,
Yeah.
the Sconset area map should be the same for all agencies.
Yeah,
I
Great.
think that's exactly right, Clement. That last couple of sentences or 2 or 3 sentences ago, when you were saying something about the expanding
Yeah.
the zone, I've forgotten how it was written, but it started to get a little jumbled there. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking that to simplify it, it might just say
Cons-
to be consistent with the whatever exists now for the entirety of Sconset.
All right, yeah, good.
Just
Thank
so
you,
that we're
that's-
not, it's not like we're creeping with our jurisdiction. It's just point consistent with whatever that is, that
Yeah.
shows Sconset
Great.
master plan.
I've moved the word consistency up to replace that paragraph idea. Okay, good.
Nice
Thank
work.
you for that.
Let the dog eat it.
So no, it's I think the computer will eat it first. But so I will touch this up. Thank you for the consistency idea, because I'm trying to keep it to about 4 paragraphs. Bing, bang, bop.
Simpler the better.
Simpler the
Yeah.
better. I
4
agree.
paragraphs?
Less is more.
That's right. Thank you.
It's already a vetted plan, I think, is one of the biggest
I
things.
believe it has been, yes, Holly.
Yes, it has through the master plan process. So having that consistency, and quite frankly, I would think that this would be the last change to your plan, if you will, your area, because this is Sconset. This takes up all those areas.
Okay. You're speaking about this request that I'm writing.
Yes,
Yes.
I was just wanting to note that, this is already a vetted, approved plan through the master plan.
Oh,
And
okay.
consistency from a planning perspective, the boundaries, I don't see this changing ever from a master plan perspective, and I don't see you all wanting to expand it any farther than what this already shows. So it just, from
Okay.
a planning perspective, it makes sense.
Yep.
All right, great. So there was a lot of preamble that's not necessary. Correct. Okay, good. Thank you for your input. Simplifying is terrific. And I will try to get this out to you before our next meeting. So you can read it and let me know, and we might even have it by the next meeting. And Holly, I would send it to you. in
Yes,
its finalness.
please. Yes,
Okay.
when you all are ready to submit it,
Okay.
please do. Thank you.
Terrific.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, some
Second.
comments first.
Oh,
I'll take a motion to accept our comments first.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Angus. All those, thank you. All in favor, Mary Lathrop.
Yes.
Thank you, Angus McLeod.
Aye.
Thank you, Clement Durkes.
yes.
And Rob Benchley is a yes. And on the prior motion to adjourn, all those in favor? Mary Lathrop,
I am in favor.
thank you. Angus McLeod,
Aye.
Clement Durkes,
Yes.
and Rob Benchley says yes. Sorry, I just have one more question. Is there a are those HEC survey files? Are they digitized, or are they still in the filing cabinets? I'm just curious.
They're still in the filing cabinets. However, you can go to Macris GIS and get some of them that were scanned with the state, but they're not all consistent. We have a little bit of donut holes, if you will.
Yeah, yes.
Not all of them can you find on Macris and vice versa. So that
Is that something that if one of us needed to do some research, can we make an appointment to come in and look?
Yes, you would have to make an appointment with Plus. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
One last
All right then,
question.
everybody.
What's the background